Hello everyone, thank you for stopping by on my very first guide for creatures of Sonaria. Today we have one of the strongest and my favorite creature, the Sequidliom. A very strong ailment stacker with a lot of tools and versatility in its kit. I'll be showing you the plushies, traits, and venerations that I use, along with the general guide on what to do during combat. Hope everyone enjoys the video. Thank you for watching and subscribe for more. Now, the modeling and animation team did a fantastic job hitting the Kraken theme. The quality of the creature as a whole really is top tier for the game. I feel like it's important to point it out and shout it out since not every creature gets this much love in animations and modeling. Moving on to something a little more important than looks, its stats. And just like its looks, these are top tier as well. Even after 2 nerfs, which was one of the reasons I waited to make this video, the Sequid is still packing 9600 health, its weight sitting at 29,500, a base damage of 275 with a 1 second cooldown. That stacks 1 poison each hit on target. It also comes with grab, which can be combined with its backwards dash, making it extremely useful. A dedicated invisibility button and ink, which not only creates a cloud of CC, blinding and disorienting players, but also grants the Squid another form of invisibility. And last but not least, it also comes equipped with Two-Faced, giving it either 60% more damage and 60% slower bite speed, or 34% less damage with a 34% faster bite speed. Now, it has no shortage of tools in its arsenal, which is exactly why this creature excels so much. It gives you many options that once learned will push most fights in your favor. Now, I know most people think the Squid is far too strong, and I'll talk more about that near the end, but I see it as a much needed equalizer, sort of like the assassin character in the game, where patience, knowledge, and awareness can greatly increase your chances of killing even multiple enemies at once. Alright, now for the traits you're going to want to use, I would recommend prioritizing ailment plushies, most effective being double pig or 1 pig and 1 tannin. If you don't have one or either of those, since I know they're a little harder to get, cat or haunt is fine. Now again, the ailment route for me after 500 kills has proven to be the most effective. If you don't have any ailment plushies or you really want to use this for its hard-hitting attacks, then 2 void plushies are going to do you just fine. In terms of traits, when I originally made the video, health, weight, and health bite were my top recommendations, and was the loadout I used even post nerf to get 500 kills, and they are still great options, especially as a solo player if you don't have your own dedicated healer. However, currently weight bite is really at the top, not just because of the weight buff, but because of the nerf to the Sequid's healing rate. These 2 changes alone made weight bite way more valuable, and it's what you should be aiming for. But again, you'll be perfectly well off with health in either bite or weight, and distributing all your points into health if you have bite, or 2 into health and all the rest into weight. Now, when it comes to elder veneration, as a solo player, I'm sticking with gentle because going into powerful loses way too much regen. However, again, if you play with friends and usually have a healer, or you really don't mind waiting the extra regen time, powerful elder is going to give you more damage and let you tank a couple more hits, making it a just as valid option. Little unfortunate that they nerfed the regen, considering how so many people have healers in their packs, making it that much harder for solo players, but I mean, what can you do? In any situation where they have a healer on their side, you're really going to want to play it smart. Make sure you don't allow yourself to get too many negative ailment stacks and bait out their healers. And that's really how you want to go about playing the Squid, taking your time, stacking ailments, and using all of your abilities. One of the overall tips that I wanted to touch on is always keeping an eye on your stamina bar. Your ink actually fully regenerates this, which is another way that it can be used. Now, this is greatly going to depend on the situation, because while you can use that stamina to get away, the ink also disorients enemies and turns you invisible. So as long as you have mud, which you always should have, and there aren't any keen observer enemies, the disorient and invisibility should allow you to slowly back away from the fight. Also remember, you can change elevation and slowly go down lower or go above them. This is something you should always use in the fight, because the enemy is usually forced to rest since you've stacked ailments on them, allowing you to get extra hits that do even more damage. Sometimes you can even switch your Two-Face over to damage and finish them off with a couple of hits. And that goes for Two-Faced even in a normal fight, honestly. Switching over to harder hitting hits when they're lower health might just catch them off guard and not allow them to escape. And if you're initiating on somebody who's sleeping or you're aggro, that's another active way to use Two-Faced, because the higher the base damage, the more those multipliers will actually affect it. Learning effective switching is another one of those small things that can add up and completely change the outcome of the fight. Now, from what I said earlier about keeping an eye on your negative stacks, make sure they never get too high. Now, while that might seem like obvious advice, it is especially important in the Squid because of your invisibility ability, allowing you to pause the fight and heal off any ailments and health. However, having to heal too many stacks will give the enemy enough time to actually exit the fight without penalty by simply menuing. However, with the raw power of the Sequid, it's not as big of an issue as with other stackers, and you should have no issues straight out killing or combat logging them. And another thing, make sure when you're using your ink offensively to always make sure that they walk into it. This will make the disorient effect turn them away from you, allowing you to still hit them at the same time. In time, you will know what to use the ink effect for, whether offensively or defensively, depending on the fight. And in most fights, except those where you're like really outnumbered, it's always good to use it offensively at the beginning at least, so that near the end you'll have it again in case you need to use it defensively. Another important part is knowing when and how to use your dart. The best case use is being near the surface so that way you can launch away and not have anything catch up to you. However, if the fight isn't near the surface, just make sure to always keep an eye on the stamina and always have some available for mobility to be able to get out. Because of all its other tools, it's something that you'll often forget, but just keep track of it. And don't spam it too much trying to kite anyone, because after the hitbox changes, they'll most likely hit you too. And one thing I did forget about ink, it will give you 50% less damage, so make sure you're on your fast hitting ailment stacking mode so that way you can get the most out of it. I think I covered basically all the most important parts of playing the Sequid, at least the ones that really matter and will actually change the way fights are fought and if you win or not. And at the end, it'll just come with time because there's so many different things that you use on this creature, so just go get into fights and just practice and practice. I have enjoyed this creature so much, and it's honestly the best addition since I've been playing the game. And I don't just mean that because I'm an aquatic player, it's a strong aquatic. I'm saying it because the creature rewards you for playing a certain way and utilizing it to its max potential. And even though many people think it's too strong or overpowered, I really don't think so. Mainly because the way that the majority of people really play this game and how packs are so overpowered. You have like 4 or 5 people just all hitting you within each other's hitboxes because they do no damage to each other, since there's an insane pack damage reduction. So to me, this Squid is really just like a gun you bring to fight 4 people with knives. They can still rush you and eventually kill you, especially if you have no idea how to use a gun. But if you know how to use it, it'll be a much fair fight. A great equalizer, really. And you know, I'm not dumb. I know the audience of the game, and I'm sure top priority isn't PvP balance, but that just makes it all the more fair for me to try to gain every advantage I can as a solo player. And the only sad part, there's no really Squid equivalent for land or air. If you're solo on those two, then you know, good luck. The moment you try killing someone, their pack or, you know, whoever's around is just gonna go for you. It's really just anti-toxic toxicity, which again, it's not a hardcore PvP game, so, you know, I understand. And yeah, there's not really much more to say. Creature's amazing. Once you're good enough, not even an Egon will be able to really contest you, since you have invisibility and your ink, and you'll be able to switch your two-face into a higher damage mode. You have the versatility to really fight anything and anyone. And one more thing that I just recently learned the hard way, be careful for charges. They will just straight knock you out of the water, especially in the small oasis spawn, and you'll be killed like immediately. It's one of those goofy in-game things where they can just hit the corner of your hitbox and your whole thing flies. I've had a blast with the Sequid and have killed many tier 5s and behemoths, and I'm sure you guys will too. Now I'll let the rest of the video play and just have a little outro at the end. I had a lot of footage in combat, so even though I'm not too good at scripting long scripts, I'm able to provide a good amount of just raw KOS footage and me using these tactics in game, so enjoy. Well, that's it for the Sequid. Thank you so much for watching. Give it a like and subscribe if you learned anything or just enjoyed the video in general. I'll be making more guides like this in case that's something you guys are interested in. My next upcoming ones that are close to finish are on the Uliri and Cyrodion, and I'll try uploading multiple a week just depending on if I get them done or not. Alright, bye!